I'd like to introduce you to somebody. If you don't know, this is Adam Conover. He's a dude who works for CollegeHumor, which was a thing I used to like until I realized they became politically correct garbage around 2015, 2014-ish. Uh, he also works for True TV, where he has a show called Adam Ruins Everything, and in the show, he has a section on why people think video games are just for boys. Now, before I get into this, let me just say that this isn't against Adam. Now, I like him. I like his programming when he hits the right spots. Now, what he usually does is take something that people are aware of, like politics or food, and he tells facts about it that maybe people didn't know about, and smash down the misconceptions. Like, for example, in his politics episode.
If your state has less people, you have more power. Not too many people live in Wyoming, but they have 3 electoral votes, or 1 for every 135,000 voters. California is packed with people, but they have 55 electoral votes, or 1 for every 411,000 voters. And that's totally out of proportion, because it means it takes 3 times as many Californians to earn 1 electoral vote, giving voters in Wyoming 3 times the power in the Electoral College. As a result of this system, your vote could count for less just because of where you live.
See, that's the Adam I like. Even if it's like not the best researched or whatever, at least it's a good footnote to doing some actual research. This is the Adam I despise.
Early video games like Pong were totally unisex.
Okay. Is that relevant to the game at all? I mean, why are you applying this to shit from like the early 70s when people didn't care about identity politics? A source from Polygon? I know where this is going now.
In fact, the game was marketed to the entire family.
What about Pac-Man? He was a boy.
True, but the game was so popular with women that when it came time for a sequel, the developers gave it a female main character, Ms. Pac-Man.
See, this is where Adam gets one thing wrong, okay? His hair should be falling at this moment because in the show's canon, whenever he gets a fact wrong, his hair falls out. I guess it doesn't, proving the show's ideological bias. But anyways, moving on to the actual history of the game. Pac-Man was made in 1980 by a Japanese man named Toru Iwatani, who worked at Namco, now known as Namco Bandai. He got 9 men, and he developed the game over the course of a year, and he said that the inspiration for the shape of Pac-Man was a pizza with 1 slice left out in the open. He wanted to appeal to a wider audience of not just boys and teenagers, but also women and stuff. So that's why he made the game for them, so that they could have fun with that. So that's why it marketed to women, because it was for them. Just because something appeals to a demographic doesn't mean that they didn't intend for it to be marketed to that demographic. Sometimes it was planned.
And not only was much of the audience female, many of the developers were too. Among the stars of early game design were Atari's Carol Shaw, Centipede creator Donna Bailey, and Roberta Williams, an adventure game pioneer and company co-founder, whose King's Quest series was a massive hit among gamers of all stripes.
Okay, great. You found 3 examples from the olden times of 3 video game developers who happened to have vaginas. What about any examples from the modern times? No, I'm pretty sure you won't find one because you know, that would hurt your narrative.
Because all of that changed thanks to the video game crash of 1983. Greedy publishers started flooding the market with shoddy games like I Want My Mommy, Lost Luggage, and E.T. for the Atari 2600, which has been called one of the worst games of all time.
I will link to a video that Rerez did a couple years back where he outlines why E.T. the Extraterrestrial might be good. He actually has some pretty good points there, Adam. Just don't go into the mainstream and say, oh yeah, that game is like a 1,000 out of 10.
Most adults stopped playing games entirely, and the video game market cratered.
Wait, can I see that again just to make sure I didn't hallucinate or something? Looks like I was right. Notice how the thing like goes all the way down to 1986. but wait, didn't the crash happen in 1983? Again, this looks like an example of you lying, Adam. Your graphic designers at True TV don't even know what the hell they're doing.
So when it came time to market the original Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo devised a plan. Instead of selling it in the electronics section, they sold it in the toy aisle. But by then, the toy aisle was completely separated into pink and blue, boy and girl. Nintendo had to choose a side. They went with boy, and then they marketed to those boys relentlessly.
I'm just gonna skip this part because it's not really worth my time investing into shit because, I don't give a shit. So let's just carry on with any other points that Adam has.
And after decades of this kind of advertising,
What's up, bitch?
we now think of video games as being the exclusive domain of the male sex.
Okay, finally, we've got that verbal diarrhea out of the way. Let's dissect how terrible that point is and see the flaws in his argument. The first one I could say is that when Nintendo marketed the original NES, it was originally meant to be a game system that was an interactive medium that anybody could enjoy, not just males. Females got into the fun, even if they didn't necessarily market to that demographic. They were still interested in the game nonetheless. It just doesn't make sense. The second point I have to make is that Nintendo didn't, market it exclusively to boys. I mean, it may have seemed like it, but it's just, people are interested in different things. And if people are going to be marketing things like that to different people, then, that's going to happen. Another thing here is he said that companies pretty much brainwashed kids into thinking this sort of thing, that, video games are the exclusive domain of the male sex. Which is kind of strange because I'm a gamer and I believe that females have every right to play video games as they so please. Doesn't matter which genre, it doesn't matter, whatever. Yeah, I have no issue with that. And so your argument doesn't make sense because I wasn't mind-fucked into thinking that, maybe girls shouldn't be into video games. Let's all be fedora-donning misogynists. No. It just makes you look like a complete dunderhead when it comes to these subjects. Another thing I have to say is that in that thing you had with the commercials, those were a couple of hand-picked examples. And I noticed one of your commercials was for a mobile game. That game, it's not a real game. Not really. Any game that's on a mobile platform that markets to the lowest common denominator and charges you $14.99 to get 75 dilithium crystals is it's not an actual game because you're not really interacting with the medium at hand. But I've made enough points. Let's just carry on.
Okay, those ads are weird, but boys just like video games more than girls do.
Sorry, Jake, that's a straight-up myth. More adult women play video games than teenage boys do.
Whoa. Slow down, Motormouth. More women play video games than teenage boys do? Gee, I wonder where you got that source. Oh wait, I can see it in the very top right corner. You got it from the Entertainment Software Association, whose numbers are based on sales statistics and doesn't take into consideration what genre that women prefer to play and what platform they play on. And yeah, it's not really the best way to look at those kind of things, It's very general and broad. Does this include your 40-year-old aunt who plays Candy Crush? Does this include your 80-year-old grandma who plays solitaire on her computer? Does this include your little cousin who plays Clash of Clans? What does this include? I have no idea where they got those sources. And those sources, they probably just fudged the numbers so that it aligns with their narrative. That's the only reason you cited this, Adam. It fits your narrative, so you cited it as a source to somehow prove how we're misogynists. If you didn't already know, people do this all the time, especially with websites like Kotaku, really SJW pandering. Oh, look, because 50% of the gaming population is female, representation is very important. Oh my god, stop making these dumb assertions.
That's just counting stupid phone games.
Kids, right, it does include stupid phone games.
So? Games are games, Jake.
Yeah, maybe when you're talking about different genres or like Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, but like, Jesus Christ, man, not mobiles. They are completely different. You wouldn't say that Flappy Bird is the same as Gears of War. You wouldn't say that Game of War is the same as, I don't know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You see, it's very different, Adam. You really gotta understand that. And I think that little kid you have there understands that. He's just pissed that you're trying to push an ideology.
All that means is that mainstream consoles like PS4 and Xbox One are refusing to serve a huge untapped market.
Fucking really? An untapped market? You can't say that those markets are untapped when fucking exists. There. I just made your argument invalid. Oh, and also, it's not mainstream consoles like PS4 and Xbox One. It's gaming publishers like Sony and Microsoft, and maybe the developers of the games. If you really want to attack those people, you can't just attack the consoles themselves. That's like going after, I don't know, Grauman's Chinese Theater for making all Hollywood movies.
We're talking millions of women who would love to play more games, but are being pushed away from the hobby by weird, old-fashioned marketing that publishers are sticking with, seemingly out of sheer force of habit.
Women aren't being pushed aside by old-timey marketing, as if old times were like the worst for women. I mean, sure, the 19th century was kind of a dick to them, but that doesn't make the entire human civilization horrible for women. See, when it comes to things like maybe marketing and demographics, there are games that market and demographic to women, like The Sims. It's just that a lot of the mainstream games, like Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto, don't do so because, well, a lot of men and boys like them. It's all a matter of marketing. It's not that they're being brainwashed, it's just they have an active interest in it, and they're trying to get to that demographic if they want to get that product out. It's all a matter of choice, man. You gotta take that into consideration, you Marxist prick.
Ow, who's doing that? Why are you hurting me, Megan?
Because I'm mad at you. I like games. I've always liked them. It's just sometimes I feel like they don't love me back.
Maybe you have psychological issues.
You act like I'm not supposed to play them or something just because you listen to all these stupid ads.
Meanwhile, in reality, he probably doesn't give a shit about all this.
Jake, video games are the greatest new art form of the century. They can do anything. Saying they're for just one gender is ridiculous.
It's good that no one's saying this. Nobody is, Adam. You gotta understand that.
When we think about video games in such a limited way, it makes the games worse, it loses the industry money, and it's really mean to your sister.
Yeah, I mean, sure, if that were to happen. Keyword, if. That doesn't mean that it's true, Adam. In fact, this part of the video is an exact reenactment of my feelings towards this when I first saw it.
Just wait, he'll burn out in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen this before.
You know, Adam, that kid has every right to be mad. You're trying to push an ideology. You're trying to push a narrative so that people can buy into it and allow for more diversity in the games industry.
Because it's 2015.
I just love this clip. I'm never gonna stop using it when the opportunity comes, so don't judge me for that, okay? People in the comment section, okay? At least we agree. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. I'm glad you enjoyed this video. Come back next Saturday with a brand spanking new video. See you later.